about translocating sea otters, we found that there was a conflict primarily with commercial fisheries. Sea otters eat a wide variety of species, including species that are important to commercial fisheries. And because of this conflict and because of conflicts in the Endangered Species Act and Marine Mammal Protection Act, we actually went to Congress to seek approval for translocation. And in doing so, a compromise was reached. We would be allowed to translocate sea otters, but we would also be required to develop a management strategy or a management plan that included a management zone. Eventually, San Nicolas Island was selected as the preferred translocation site, in part because it was a small island and it was surrounded by deep ocean channels, and the idea was that if we moved otters there, they were more likely to stay. The intent was to develop a second colony, or one or more colonies, in fact, of sea otters to protect them in the event of a large spread catastrophic event like an oil spill or disease or so on and so forth.
The fisherman brought up a very valid point in that, well, if the fear is about an oil spill, why are we fooling around with the otters and moving them around? Why are we not getting to the oil spill problem?
The primary concern with the commercial fisheries is simply competition. The fishermen see the sea otter in many cases as a direct threat to their livelihood. If sea otters eat all the urchins, then they have nothing to harvest.
When the proposal was made by U.S. Fish and Wildlife to translocate some otters down here, the fishermen said it was like bringing rats into the cheese factory.
They are aggressive, voracious, and they eat a lot. So the populations of the resource that we utilize are large because the otters aren't here. And we exploit populations that probably weren't as large as they are now when otters were here.
There are many fishing folks out there in the community that see this is their property.
You implement a plan that is basically altering an ecology of something, and then when it fails, you just up and leave. You can't return it to what it was before. You put otters into a zone that you had agreed for zonal management that now doesn't exist at all.
The question is, where do sea otters belong? And sea otters kind of have their own idea of where they want to belong, and this is what's causing us the biggest problems. And we have said in our documents that we will go ahead and manage sea otter populations, go ahead and capture them and move them and prevent them from coming into an area. But unfortunately, the sea otters aren't reading those plans.
We are crossing our fingers that they don't cross the channel and start working on these channel islands, because when they do that, then we're out of business, which, you know, it depends on your perspective, but for me, it would be bad.
We're currently reevaluating the translocation program. The reason we're reevaluating this is the plan as originally written didn't seem to work. The otters are not staying where we said they were going to stay.
The earth is getting smaller and smaller, which is why we have to care for it more and more. How to balance the sea otters with fishermen. The otter fisherman problem is just a part of that bigger picture. It's just the nature of this struggle of how do we balance all this out.